I'm Mary Thompson. I'm a co-host of a podcast called Aging Gracefully. I recently celebrated a landmark birthday. I turned 60. I wasn't really excited about turning 60, but here it was happening anyway. There were some things to look forward to. I am now eligible for most senior discounts. I have just 2 years until I can start drawing Social Security, and I'm only 5 years from truly affordable health insurance. But 60 does something to you. It causes you to step back and reflect on the entirety of your life. And I began to see it as a long road trip with birth on one end and an eventual death on the other. And I found myself looking in the rearview mirror, and I could see so clearly those birthdays and those milestones that had gone before. But what I noticed was the excitement of them, the hopefulness, the positivity. I was 5 years old. I was a big kid. I was going to get to go to school. I was 16 years old. I was going to get my driver's license and I could take my friends to the beach. I was 21 years old. It was now legal for me to participate in all of the adult vices. I could smoke, I could drink, I could gamble. And as my parents told me, I could move out of the house. But 60 was not met with that kind of enthusiasm. The milestones seemed to be in my rearview mirror. The graduations, the marriages, the birth of my son, the first job. All of these things held hope and promise. But when I look out the windshield and I'm looking at my future, the next 10, 20, 30 years, it's a little hazy. I'm not looking forward with hope and exuberance and excitement. Unfortunately, I'm wondering, what does this thing hold for me? What's out there? And I understand the reason for that trepidation is my own belief system. My projections about what does it mean to get older. When I look up aging gracefully on the internet, I find ads for hair dye, Botox injections, cosmetic surgery, and I think this is nuts. We don't give an adolescent surgery so they can stay a child just for a few years more. And we don't give an adult hormonal treatment so they can keep that adolescence going for just a little bit longer. But as we age, we seem to want to cling so desperately because we fear the changes we're going through physically, mentally, spiritually. But what I realized was I have the power in this moment, in my driver's seat as I'm driving down the road, to challenge those beliefs, to challenge my own projections. So I think about that physically. What's going on? My projection. My grandfather was old before I met him. Stooped, couldn't stand up straight, leathery skin. Old people are tough. My grandmother waving goodbye from the porch, her arm waving for a few extra seconds. The body turns against them. A friend who was a performance athlete started to lament in his 40s that his body was letting him down. He wasn't fast enough or strong enough to beat the kids anymore. They were running circles around him. And I hear that expression a lot from people. Their body was letting them down. And I began to think, is it? Or am I letting my body down some way? I think of the body being fed by supply and demand. The supply being the food that I'm taking in. Maybe I'm not feeding it what it wants. Maybe it wants something different as I get older in order to maintain vitality. So I look at what's on the table and I think, more fresh, more whole, more organic. And my body responds with saying, yes, that was what I wanted for years. And then there's the demand. What am I doing? Am I moving in a way that's genuine? Am I moving every day? I encourage people to move, get moving, whatever form that takes. It might be walking, it might be dancing, it might be taking a kickboxing class. But somehow getting out and moving, and the body responds by building new and healthy tissue. I had a belief system that my body wouldn't do that as I got older, it was just all patch. But I know that it's not. I can build. I can maintain. And now I look forward cleaning up that physical side of my windshield. And I look forward and think, no, this is going to be okay. I don't have to suffer until I'm actually suffering. I don't have to project sickness until I'm actually ill. Stuff happens, but it's not happening right this minute. So I want to maintain this moment for a while longer. What about mentally? Now, there's a big projection for me. My grandmother was senile. My mother had Alzheimer's. Oof, my odds aren't looking good. And I wonder, am I ready for that? Am I thinking, do I project into my future life of mentality that I'm going to lose my memory in some way? But I remember when I was in my 20s, I spent a full 2 minutes trying to unlock a car that wasn't mine. It was the same color and similar shape, but it was not the same make and model. But you know what didn't happen? I didn't stop at 20 and think, oh my gosh, I probably have dementia. But now at 60, I can't find my car keys for 5 minutes, and I begin to question the strength of my mind. What I recognized at 20 was I was distracted. I had too much stuff going on at one time that I didn't bother checking out the situation. And I confess, when I can't find my car keys, I'm still in that same boat. I'm distracted. I have too many things going on in that moment. So it's not a senior moment, it's a human moment. The other thing, in the worst case scenario, if in fact I did at some point develop dementia, what I observed in my mother, who was angry and depressed most of her life, was that she forgot what she was angry about. And she forgot what she was depressed about. And she lived out the end of her life actually kind of happy. Yes, she didn't have the memories of her children, but those memories were through a lens of anger and through a lens of disappointment. Now she enjoyed her children. She enjoyed them as who they were. I remember one conversation we had, this went on for about 15 minutes. When she found out my name was Mary, she said, I have a daughter named Mary. And I responded with, I know her. And she said, you do? And I said, yes, she really loves you, and told me to say hello. And we had this wonderful conversation about me, with me, and she felt loved. And isn't that all we want at the end of the day? So I'd like to maintain my strength of mind. And that diet and that lifestyle stuff, that does it. And it's true that in Alzheimer's dementia, that there are senile plaques that form in the brain. 100% of people with dementia have those senile plaques. But 40% of the brains of people without dementia have those plaques. So what's the difference? These people continued to learn throughout their lives. Whether it's memorizing a speech to give to your local cable TV station, or if it's learning new dance moves, learning kickboxing, or learning how to work a digital camera, challenging yourself to go out and learn something new actually builds new neural pathways around those blockages. Is there something you've always wanted to learn? Something you've always wanted to take on? Now is the time, because your brain wants you to continue growing and learning throughout your entire life. So I start to clean the windshield there in my mental space, and I look forward and I think, rather than being afraid of what might happen, I can look forward with what kind of things I would like to learn and do that are new in this time period of my life. And then there is what I'm referring to as your spirituality. Certainly it includes your relationship with your God, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your fellow man. And we look forward into the future, and we're not quite sure. We know this road trip ends at death. And typically, we're doing road trips that have some kind of awesome ending. And this one, we're afraid of. We look forward, and we're not sure what it looks like. And what we find is that when we're caught up, when we don't feel complete, or we're not at peace with ourselves, is when we really struggle at the end of life. When people were asked about their regrets, this is what causes us to kind of put the brakes on the whole death thing, because I still have things I got to take care of. What the biggest regrets were times they hadn't said I love you to someone that they loved. Times when they hadn't said, I'm proud of you to their children. Times that they hadn't said, I'm sorry when they'd offended someone, and people that they needed to let know that they forgave them for whatever offense they had given. We can do that. We're in the driver's seat. I refer to this as cleaning up my side of the street. I want to make sure that I've cleared my issues that I have with people. I want to be fully at peace with myself, because I find when I'm in a space of being fully at peace with myself, then this road trip I can enjoy. I'm not caught up in revisiting those things in my rearview mirror that maybe weren't so pleasant, that I feel like I've resolved them and I'm ready to move forward. Each one of us is put into the driver's seat at birth, and we collect memories of these birthdays and of our milestones. And we have the opportunity to be present during our childhood, during our adolescence, during our adulthood, and as we age. The more we stay clear, the better we take care of this physical body and this mind, the more we continue to learn and grow, the more we engage with other people, the more we age gracefully. So I hope that you also will enjoy this trip of your lifetime.